All right, we are back on Radio Row in beautiful Los Angeles, in the Meat Locker, the Los Angeles Convention Center, as we've come to call it. But we are joined by a very special guest, probably one of the big reasons why this game is happening in here, the president and CEO of Los Angeles Tourism and Convention Board, Adam Burke. What's up, man? How you doing?
You know what? It is so great to be here, Ryan. I mean, this has been a long time coming, and I'll say that this was a community effort. It was everything from the Los Angeles Sports and Entertainment Commission, the NFL, the city of Inglewood, the city of LA. We are so excited to finally have the big game here.
Oh, it's great. And before we even get to, how it got here, how we're here, how great is it the Rams are in this game too? I mean, how huge is that just for the city?
You could not have scripted this any better, right? And I think, we're Hollywood, right? So if you tried to pitch this as a storyline, when we didn't have a stadium, we were desperate to get one team. Well, now we have the NFL's premier stadium.
Yep.
We have not one, but two teams. And they make it to the Super Bowl for the first ever Super Bowl in SoFi. I mean, it's storybook. But the other thing is, I got to say, it's been a rough couple of years, and this is really a milestone moment for our community. We know that the Super Bowl coming here is going to generate about $477 million to our local business community. And the thing I love more than anything, it's going to get thousands of Angelinos back to work. Yeah.
Well, that's the hugest thing. As all of us went through the same thing. We're working. I think we both started businesses during the pandemic and are doing this, but you look at the Super Bowl was supposed to be here last year, right?
Yep.
And then because of huge rains in LA, which we all know doesn't happen very often, get out of a drought finally, it gets pushed a year. It is seen as this bad thing, and it's like almost like God was saying, you didn't want 2020.
Nope.
You wanted to be in 2022, I guess, technically.
Could not agree more. I mean, even if you think things like the Olympic and Paralympic Games, we were shooting for 24. It turns out because of all the other major events we've got, 28 is going to be a better year.
Yeah.
So things happen the way they're supposed to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it couldn't have been luckier. So, but let's talk about this is the 8th Super Bowl here.
8th Super Bowl, exactly. But it's been a while. It's been almost 3 decades. So, we got a lot of pent-up demand. And honestly, a lot of people don't know how much LA has changed. And that's the thing we're most excited about is to kind of roll out the red carpet, because if you haven't been to LA in even 5 years, 10 years, you would not believe how much has been happening here.
Yeah. I mean, I live here, and I feel like every day it's something like
It's true.
Absolutely. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, I was born and raised here, and the transformation is absolutely incredible. And Adam, how have you, this notion of being kind of the epicenter of sports, it really feels that way with LA, and especially with everything that has happened, and also all of the events in kind of the 2020s that are being projected out with the Olympics and everything. What's kind of your vision of that as the epicenter?
Honestly, I could say it's luck, but there is something really magical about this run that LA's having. And I think it's for a few reasons. One of it is, you guys know, we're one of those most diverse communities on the planet. So when you look at a lot of these events that are trying to really attract people from around the world, people feel very comfortable coming here to LA.
Mm-hmm.
We have people come from over 140 different countries, speak over 220 different languages. But to your point, you go back to 2017, that's when this all really started. And a lot of people don't realize from 2017 to 2022, LA will have hosted the All-Star Game for every professional major sport, with the exception of Pro Bowl. But we got this little thing happening at SoFi this weekend, and then
much bigger than the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
so we don't even want the damn Pro Bowl.
So this year we've got MLB All-Star, right, wrapping up the kind of All-Star 5-year period. But then next year we've got College Football Playoff National Championships. We've got the U.S. Men's Open at LA Country Club. 24, we're going to have the NCAA Men's West Regional Championship. We're also going to have WrestleMania, which is a massive, by the way, for those of you who do not know, WrestleMania is a massive driver of business.
Yeah.
In 26, we're a candidate city to host the World Cup, and we're hoping we're going to get the opening games and or the World Congress. And we just landed the U.S. Women's Open out at Riviera. So all that's in the run-up to the Olympic and Paralympic Games. I've been in tourism 30 years. I have never seen a city have this kind of a batting average on these major events.
That's absolutely incredible. And Adam, there's a lot of, LA is just one of those cities that has the it factor, right? And it's very hard not to have an opinion about LA. You got folks that love LA, don't love LA, and we could probably use some stronger language on that side. But, from a tourism perspective, LA brings so much to the table. It's so spread out. Transportation can be challenging. What is your sort of impression, if you're sort of describing LA, across the country, across the world, how would you pitch the city?
So I guess the first thing I would say is what I said earlier. Anyone, no matter where you come from, across the country, around the world, you're going to feel very welcome in LA. and it's because of what an inclusive community are.
Yes.
The second thing is, the good news is, if you want to do it, we've got it. That's probably my elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Now, the flip side of that is, how do you get your arms around it? So, I was born in Chicago. This is my adoptive home of 30 years. You got to figure out that LA is not a city. LA is this incredible host of these amazing communities, all these regions, all these neighborhoods. So what we do as the official tourism promotion agency for LA is we try to break it down and make it more digestible. So a good example is around the big game. We actually put together a complimentary guide for the official game guide. So we have the LA Tourism Super Bowl guide. And it's so that people can go onto our website, which is discoverlosangeles.com/Super Bowl. And we already put together a series of 3-day itineraries. So if you want to do something 3 days around sports, that's there. If you want to do 3 days that's pub crawls and restaurants, we got that. If you want to do, museums, a great example is the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures that just opened in September. That's all there. So anyone, if you're from here, it's a great resource. But if you're not from here, it's an awesome way to go on and say, okay, in 3 days, what can I see?
That's absolutely incredible, and what tremendous vision. And Adam, from your perspective, over the last 20 years, how have you seen LA change from a tourism perspective? And then if you were to place some bets on how LA is going to change in the next 20 years, where would you kind of place your bets?
Hey, it's a great question. When I moved out here in 1990, compared to where we are today, it's just a completely different city.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's been completely transformed. And, there are so many things you can point to. Kind of the way we look at it is, first of all, infrastructure. For any major global destination, you've got to make it easy for people. So what a lot of people may not realize, LAX is right now in the middle of a $14 billion.
Yes. We're very aware.
and when it's done, it'll be amazing.
Yes.
But, a little bit to get to. But by the end of 23, most of the work will be done. It's the largest public works project in the country. It will be one of the world's premier airports, and they're doing everything right. Justin Urbachi's the CEO out there. They're doing a remarkable job. So, the things that have perhaps made it a little challenging in the past, that's going to be gone within less than 24 months. We also look at, the old adage, if you're going to buy a house, look where they're building a Whole Foods and a Home Depot. In our industry, I look at, where are developers putting their investment?
Yes.
So even in the middle of the pandemic, we added 2,100 new hotel rooms last year.
Wow.
And, we have so many exciting new projects. There's been this huge boutique hotel boom. So that's one of the things that's really starting to attract a younger demographic is we've got something at every price point, but a lot of these lifestyle hotels are coming in. But then beyond that, you look at our culinary community. And I think the reason I'm so bullish on kind of our future, 10 years ago, LA was not on the top of anyone's food lists. And it's funny because those of us who live here, we know we've got this amazing food.
Yeah.
It's one of the best food cities in the world. All of a sudden, last 3 or 4 years, LA starts cropping up on the top of every foodie's must-visit list. So, all of a sudden, we've done that for food, for bars. I think you're going to see that over the balance of the decade for a whole host of other sectors. We're already the sports and entertainment capital. But look at things like arts and culture. A lot of people do not know that LA, and I know there's some New Yorkers out there who are going to argue with me on this, LA actually has more museums and performing arts venues than any city in the country.
Yes.
Including New York. So when you look at that, you look at all of this, these incredible new hotels, restaurants, the Academy Museum, the Lucas Museum of Narrative Art's going to be here in less than 2 years.
Yeah.
There is so much. I guess the way I would summarize it is you come to LA to create. And that's what LA is always doing, is reinventing, evolving, creating.
Yeah.
And so I actually think you're going to see, that continued renaissance. The LA experience 10 years from now is going to be exponentially better than the LA of today, and we love the LA of today.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I worked in restaurants for about 15 years.
Same.
My wife, good industry, hard industry, but good industry.
I actually think, we should have mandatory service for kids in this
100%.
country, but it has to be restaurant service.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Anyone that works in a restaurant knows that.
Yeah.
So, we have this running joke all week that when we finish an interview and it's like we think later, like, oh man, I should have asked that. That's our catch up to table 30 moment that we wake up at 2 a.m. if you work, you can relate.
Let's put it this way: if you know the term "in the weeds,"
Yeah. You know what we're doing. Yeah. So I did that. My wife works in hotels still. She worked in 15 years in hotels here in LA. And so there's no one thing, but what do you think really attributed to this boom we've seen in 4 to 5 years in specifically the food culture? Is it people moving here? Is it homegrown talent saying, I'm staying here to cook?
I think it's a combo. So, one person who I got to credit is Susan Feniger. So, Susan Feniger and Mary Sue Milliken are the founders of Border Grill. They have been stalwarts in this community for like 30 years. They came here And much like Jonathan Gold, who we miss horribly, because Jonathan was the guy who really kind of told the story of all these great little restaurants and street tacos and the stuff that wasn't necessarily elevated. It was just great basic LA food. Susan Feniger was the one who really, along with Mary Sue, has been pushing our culinary community around the world, and I think she probably more than anyone else is what brought so many talented chefs here, because they wanted to be part of that. And the interesting thing is, Susan and Mary Sue were just recognized 2 years ago with the Julia Child Award for excellence in culinary. Ironically, first time any women have won the award, which is little weird.
Wow.
That is.
But beyond that, we a lot of people don't realize that LA Tourism runs the Dine LA program. And pre-pandemic, it had become the largest restaurant week events in the country.
Huge.
We would typically have over 420 restaurants for every 2-week event. And so a few years ago, we had our 10-year anniversary, and we had a panel that was Susan Feniger, Roy Choi, David LaFave, all these great LA chefs. And we asked exactly that question, Ryan, which was, okay, why LA? And they had two really interesting observations. The first thing they said is, there's something about the fact that we were the underdogs for so long. Where, every other city, it's kind of kill or be killed if you're in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
But because LA wasn't getting its due, they all kind of came together and said, screw this. We're going to do what it takes, but people know what an amazing food city we are. So they really collaborate in a way that they say, because they've all been in other cities, that they've never seen a community like this. The second thing is, and it makes sense, but it hadn't occurred to me, they said just the availability year-round of amazing produce, amazing fresh goods.
Yeah.
They said they can be more creative with their menu here than any other place in the country. And I guess the last thing I'd say is, you get to play here. Because we're such a multicultural city, the fusions you see of all of these different cultures coming together, you're going to find tastes here you won't find anywhere else on the planet.
Oh, yeah. I'm from Denver. You're from Chicago.
Yep.
We don't get 85 in February back in those states. Here, you can play all year long.
Exactly right.
Sit on rooftops, sit by the beach. No better place to eat good food.
No, absolutely. It's absolutely incredible. And Adam, Ryan Anderson here, our resident Rams contributor, had a great question. And he asked, well,
let him ask it.
Well, go for it, Ryan. Yeah, why am I talking for you? Seriously, yeah.
Well, Ryan had a great question. I'm going to tell you what it is.
We're football guys. We're constantly thinking about football. Draft is coming up.
Yep.
They always pick incredible venues. Recently, they're talking about going on Vegas on a float in the Bellagio.
Yep.
Which is ridiculous, but
Which
it sounds
is
cool.
ridiculous.
But it sounds
But
cool.
it's also very Vegas.
Yeah.
It's very Vegas. So we started talking last night. Well, where on earth in LA is going to be that iconic draft venue? So we just want to pose that question to you. Where would you pick? We all kind of came to the same conclusion.
Yes, we won't
see what you
reveal
say.
it. We won't reveal it.
So this is like the test, and I'm going to make someone mad here. There's just you guys, that's going to happen. So, the obvious answer is SoFi, but I'm going to give a non-obvious answer.
Good.
Please.
I'm going to say the Academy Museum, because if you haven't been to the new Academy Museum of Motion Pictures, number one, it's ridiculous. They are celebrating the art and magic of filmmaking in a way that I've never seen done. My wife and I went there for our anniversary a couple months ago, and we figured, we'll allow half a day. We covered maybe a third of it. They have so much, and you can literally see some of the original things from the most beloved movies of all time, like E.T., like Star Wars, but also these incredibly contemporary things. They've got a whole exhibit right now devoted to Spike Lee. It's his personal collection that's never been seen before.
Wow.
But on the top of it is the Dolby Family Terrace. Dolby Family Terrace at the Academy Museum is where they had the opening gala, where it was completely tricked out, kind of like the Met Gala is when you see in New York. And it has this incredible view of the entire LA basin. So you're in this amazing outdoor space at the Academy Museum, looking out over all of LA. And I think, the fact that we are both the sports and entertainment capital, I would love to see it at the Academy Museum, because it brings the best of those worlds together.
That would be cool.
What a great answer.
Now, I'm guessing, having failed your test, what was your answer?
Not fail.
No. Ours was very, I would say, kind of first order. It wasn't as sophisticated and nuanced as yours, Adam. Ours was sort of outdoor at the Santa Monica Pier.
I love that too. Santa Monica Pier, you think about it, that Ferris wheel is one of the most iconic views of LA. And actually, that's a great point too, because we work so closely with our colleagues in Santa Monica and Marina Del Rey, because LA is not just a city. LA is the broader region.
Yes.
And the team at Santa Monica do a phenomenal job. I love going down to the pier. But I'm going to stick with Academy Museum.
Love it. That's so great.
So we know you're contractually obligated to pick the Rams to win this Super Bowl. So we're not going to bother you with the same question we've been hitting everybody else with. But what I want to know is, Of the foods in LA, what is going to be the most consumed food between the hours when the Super Bowl starts and when the Super Bowl ends?
All right,
This is why Ryan Anderson is Ryan Anderson.
Exactly. I don't know about the other Ryan. I don't know if I buy that anymore.
Ryan 2 over here.
Ryan 2.0.
Yeah.
So first of all, I will say, of course I'm going to pick the Rams, but what I will say, I'll go on record. 4.5 point spread? All
right.
The way Stafford and OBJ are connecting right now, I'm sorry. I mean, I think a lot of people are like, oh, we got OBJ and we lost 2. I was not at all surprised because when you get a marquee player like that, it's chemistry. It's going to take him a couple games to sort it out. The last month, they have looked lethal.
Yeah.
And we got so many other offensive weapons. We've got, Aaron Donald. I mean, 4.5 points, no. We're going to blow that spread out of the water.
Agree.
And I will say, by the way, L.A. is right there in the word Lombardi. Just
can't spell Lombardi without LA.
You can't spell Lombardi without LA.
Yeah.
So my answer is 2 things. Probably the most consumed thing here is going to be liquid. I just put that out there.
Waters,
waters,
Gatorade,
vitamin water. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we have one of the best bar scenes in the country. So that will certainly be a factor. But I'm going to go with it has to be street tacos. I mean,
all right.
It doesn't matter what time of day, where you are in the city. If you find a food truck selling street tacos, you're going to get the best street tacos you've ever had in your life.
Yeah, we're doing
last LA question. We'll get you out of here on this. Best LA sports moment in your opinion?
Ooh.
Oh God. Okay, so I'm gonna cheat here. I'm gonna cheat and give 2. So one is I'm half Canadian and I'm a huge LA Kings fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no question, both cups. But honestly, for me, the second cup.
Really?
Because the first cup, we made it look easy. I mean, we just crushed everyone.
Yeah.
But there's something about the grit. I mean, you coming back from 3-0 against San Jose.
Wow,
yeah.
And no offense to any San Jose fans here, because Todd McClellan's our coach now.
Yeah.
But coming back from that, and we made it hard. We went to how many Game 7s?
Every round, I think.
That second cup
I
was
know.
special. But for me, honestly, the moment that captures where we are right now, I think it's the perfect metaphor for what we've been through. Has got to be Kirk Gibson's walk-off homer in '88.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, he had no business playing.
Yep.
And we all watched him just struggle to get to the plate. And I remember sitting there going, that ball's going to go. And to me, that's where we're at now. It's like the last 2 years we've been on the mat, and all of a sudden we're having this comeback moment. So for me, the walk-off homer in '88, and that propelled us to the series championship, that's exactly the perfect metaphor for LA's comeback story.
What an incredible answer. And to quote the great Vin Scully, in the year of the improbable, the impossible happened.
Amen.
Love
Beautiful, beautiful.
Adam Burke, CEO of Los Angeles Film, thank you so much for stopping by, and thanks for all the work you do and just letting us have fun in a beautiful city. So thank you for that.
We're so excited to have you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.